So I don't know if it's just me, but I've been finding editing photos extremely difficult lately. Specifically photos from trips that I go on or just everyday things. Those photos typically sit on a hard drive for a very long time until I can find time to edit them. I think it's because I get extremely busy throughout the week that I just can't find the time to actually sit down on my computer and edit them. Until now. Throughout the week, there are many times where I am away from my computer, whether that be I'm in the living room, maybe I'm outside enjoying the sunlight, I'm on the train, or the other day I took my mom to her doctor's appointment, and I thought to myself, in all these situations, it would be so nice to be editing photos while I'm killing time. So I recently just picked up this iPad, and I want to show you guys my really cool workflow for editing on the go on the iPad. Now, I just want to make it clear that this is not specific to the iPad. You could do the same thing on your phone. The iPad, for me, the bigger screen just makes it a lot more enjoyable. So this right here is the brand new iPad Air M3. If you are looking at getting an iPad for editing your photos, you don't need this fully spec'd out one. The regular iPad is good enough for editing photos. Now I do have both Lightroom and Photoshop installed on here, and I do use the Apple Pencil because it makes it just a lot better to edit with. So when I first picked up this iPad, I wanted to be able to plug in a hard drive or an SSD and start editing photos off that SSD. I realized very quickly that the iPad app or the iPhone app does not allow you to do that. You can read the photos from that card or from that SSD, but you can't edit off of those drives. You actually have to import the photos onto your iPad storage. And if you're editing raw files, you're going to eat up your iPad storage very quickly. So that wasn't the solution. The solution that I found is actually to start on your computer. You want to be able to open up a Lightroom catalog or create a Lightroom catalog, import all of the photos from all your drives that you want to be able to have access to and edit on your iPad. Once you have those imported into your Lightroom catalog, you're going to create smart previews for all of those photos. You can do this while you're importing. You can check off that little box that says build smart previews. If you didn't do that and you already have photos imported, you can just select all of your photos, go to top right corner and actually just click on the photos and it'll say build smart previews. The reason why you want to build smart previews is because what we're actually going to be doing is syncing all of our photos to Lightroom's cloud so that we can be able to edit on the iPad. Lightroom or Adobe does have a storage cap. So what I learned is that smart previews don't actually count to the Lightroom storage limit. They're just previews that you're editing. So if you build previews for all of your photos that you want to edit, doesn't matter if it's a terabyte worth of photos, you can sync all of those smart previews over to the cloud, which you can access on your iPad, and it's not going to cap out at a certain storage limit. Once you've created smart previews for all of your photos, all you want to do is select them all, drag them over to the all synced photos folder. Now you want to do all of this on Lightroom Classic. From my understanding is that it doesn't work on the Lightroom Cloud version. It's going to take a little bit of time to build all of those smart previews and then to sync those previews onto the cloud. But trust me, it's worth it when you have thousands and thousands of photos that you're able to edit on the go. Once everything's synced to the cloud, you just go onto your iPad and you can see that you have all of your photos synced and ready to edit. Now, there are some downsides to editing smart previews on the iPad. Sometimes it can be a little bit slow to sync those adjustments onto the cloud. Slider adjustments and like curve adjustments, things like that, I found go instantly. Like it doesn't take long. If you're doing masking or a lot of masking and then you're syncing those edits to a bunch of photos, that's where you can notice it takes a lot longer than it would on your computer. The overall experience editing photos on the iPad using the Apple Pencil is a lot of fun. It makes editing fun again. It's just super easy to adjust all of these sliders, to fine-tune the curves adjustment. It's so easy on the iPad rather than using a mouse. Especially if you're doing things like masking. if you're doing things like masking and you're using the brush tool, it's super easy to just brush in with the pencil everything that you want to edit. So I truly love editing on the iPad, and I think it's made editing a lot more enjoyable than the computer. It's just super easy to see everything, to edit everything, and the color accuracy on the iPad is actually very, very good. So you don't have to worry about, editing on a color accurate monitor like you would on your computer. Now, you don't have to worry about lack of features on the iPad app. I truly believe that it has everything that the computer version has. The only thing that I noticed that it doesn't have, so obviously Lightroom Classic has all these things like print and slideshow, like it doesn't have any of that. In terms of like tools and adjustments for editing photos, like the develop tab, the only thing that I didn't know, I noticed that it didn't have is the calibration sliders. But everything else, your optics, your chromatic aberration, your detail tab, your clarity, effects, color grading, your color wheels, it has all of that. It even has the open in Photoshop feature that we're used to on the computer. So let's say we're editing this photo here, we click share, and we can actually say edit in Photoshop. Once we do that, it'll export it onto Photoshop just like that. And now we're in the Photoshop app editing that same photo. And then in the top left corner, you'll see send to Lightroom. So once we're done making all of our adjustments in Photoshop, we can just click that send to Lightroom button. In Photoshop, it is kind of like the computer app. It's not as extensive. It doesn't have every feature that you have on the computer, but you have your general adjustments. You have your generative fill, you have your generative expand. So let's say I wanted to expand this photo and give it a little bit more room. I can just go to the crop tab, extend this like this, and then click generative expand. Just click generate, and then it'll use AI to expand that photo. So that is really cool that we have the use of AI and the same features that we have on Photoshop on the computer. Okay, that is completely different. I don't know what happened there. Look at this. This is what it spat out. This is what it was before. It just changed the entire photo. That's a little bit weird, but usually it works. Let me try a different photo here. We have this photo of Taylor in Italy. Send to Photoshop. We'll just expand a little bit. Just like that. Click generative expand. Let's see what it does. There we go. There, it extended the photo properly. So again, the whole experience of editing on the iPad, being able to do all of this on the go, I don't have to be at my desk, is a game changer. The nice thing about this workflow is that if you're on the go editing and you're in the middle of editing a gallery, you come home and now you want to finish that gallery on the computer, you don't have to worry about re-editing those same photos. Everything is syncing to the cloud when you're editing on the iPad, and it updates on your computer. I'm telling you, this has truly changed the game for me and made editing photos feel like not a daunting task. My days throughout the week are usually pretty busy. When I'm at my computer, I'm doing work. I'm scripting, I'm planning, I'm editing videos, or I'm doing a lot of admin stuff where I'm responding to emails, and I don't want to be on the computer the entire day. So once I finish all of the work, I don't want to continue sitting there editing photos. I want to go and enjoy my time outside. I want to go get some sun, or I want to go hang out with my family, or do things other than work. But a lot of the times, if I do want to go outside and enjoy that sunlight, I'm typically just sitting out there and doing nothing. So having something portable that I can edit my photos on, where I don't have to be attached and sitting at the desk the entire day, the iPad just makes sense, especially when I can do everything I could do on Lightroom and Photoshop on my computer. I can do that on the iPad. And sure, I have my MacBook, but this is a lot more portable and lightweight. You remember like 2 years ago, I went on that trip to Iceland, and you guys probably only saw like 5, 10, 15 photos from that trip and wondered why I never posted any more photos. Well, that's because I have 2,000 photos, almost, I would say maybe 3,000 photos from that trip that are all just sitting on a hard drive that I never edited because I just didn't have the time to go and edit those photos. So now that I'm using this workflow, I actually went to the computer and synced my entire Iceland gallery onto the cloud so I can edit them on the iPad and actually get those photos edited. If you're like me and you just can't find the time to sit down at your computer and dedicate time to edit thousands and thousands of photos, I'd highly recommend this workflow for you. Now, I'm not saying to go out there and drop $1,000 on an iPad. Again, you could do the same thing on your phone. The iPad just obviously makes it easier with the bigger screen. But yeah, I just wanted to share that because I do think this whole workflow is super cool. It works for me and I wanted to share it with you. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like. If you want to see more videos like this, more photography tips, make sure to subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.